Hey, what is up, everybody? Charlie here at JC3 Cards and Collectibles, here with my buddy Stu. And we are here today by request. I had a viewer ask me, how do we use the scanner to both deal through a listing tool and also use the scanner when listing without the use of a listing tool like Card Dealer Pro? And we do a mix of both pretty regularly. Well, essentially every day we do some through a listing program like Card Dealer Pro, and we do some without that is not yet in their databases. Today, we're specifically going to walk through an example for you using some 1977 Top Star Wars Series 1, the old Bluefield cards that we're going to list. And we're going to send them through our scanner, but not use our listing tool, Card Dealer Pro. And we're going to show you how you can do that. And it's still a time saver sending it through the scanner, even though you can't do the listing tool. Now, full disclosure, when you can scan it and use a listing tool, that is really the ideal scenario. But there's lots of things we list here at JC3 Cards and Collectibles that we don't have a listing tool available for. There's just not a database out there of it. I think a lot of these things there will be at some point, but initially we've got to list them the old-fashioned way, and we've got to do it manually. So we're going to walk you through that example right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today, we're going to be walking through an example of using our scanning application and tool to scan some 1977 Top Star Wars Series 1 Bluefield cards into our computer. And then we're going to list them. But normally, we would be trying to use a listing tool such as Card Dealer Pro. But because these here Star Wars cards are not in Card Dealer Pro yet, we wanted to walk you through an example of how scanning can still be an effective application, even if you're not throwing it into a listing tool like Card Dealer Pro. So we're going to go ahead and get things set up here. I'm going to switch over to my scanner cam. There we go. So there you see our Ricoh F1 8170 set up. It's ready to go. I'm going to get our cards loaded in there. So again, we've got some Topps 1977 Star Wars, the original series. We've got them here. Now, you do want to typically load them in upside down, but if you look at these cards, you can see that, these aren't image cards. So it doesn't matter so much, and you can also turn them around in the app. So you have options. I just want to make sure the backs are all up the same way. So I'm going to load them in upside down and with the header of the backs down. So we're going to put it in just like that. Give it a little squeeze. You can see the light's green. It's ready to go. So loading is as simple as that. So this is PaperStream Capture, simple scan mode. This is the software that comes to download with the scanner. There are some scanner settings you set up ahead of time. You connect the scanner. You set how you want it to scan. For example, I scan at 600 DPI, which is pretty high resolution. It slows down the scanning just a little bit, but I think it makes sense for me. I just like the images better. So now that we have it all loaded up in the scanner, we're just going to hit this scan button, and it's going to say, okay, last chance here to look at any of your settings. Looks like the window doesn't pop up for you on screen, but you can see it's working behind the scenes because it gave me a little bit of a heads up that I can add some or change some settings. But I'm going to hit the scan button on that. And then we're going to see the scanner start to take life. And here they come. And then over here on the scanning app, you can see they're scanning in. Looking good. We should be just about done. Yeah, here they come to the last ones. And there they are. They're all loaded in. Now on my scanner, you'll notice I have it on the risers, and I also have a catch bin on there. I think that is critical for what I'm doing. Now, we only scanned in a batch of 15 cards, I think. Yeah, so we got 30 images front and back. We only have 15 cards there. When I do larger batches, I actually have the Autoloader 1000, which I can do a whole box of cards in one scan if I choose, but I'm doing a smaller sample just for our purposes today. So now we can start to look at these scans, and we want to go through and take a look, make sure the quality of the scans are all good. So this one looks good, but I can turn it right in here to get it the way I want. You can see it's cropped for me. I've got a preset background on it. And then we've got the card image. I'll turn that because I can see that is a droid image, right? Looks like that's upside down here. There we go. Here's another horizontal image. I'm going to turn that. We got the card back. It looks good. We've got another horizontal image, so we'll get that shown the right way. And we will look at this back image from the puzzle. There we go. Oh, looks like a little leg from Princess Leia there. Another horizontal image. We'll flip it. The back looks good. There we go. Luke prepares to swing across the chasm with Leia. There's the back. Another horizontal here. We'll flip that. And then we've got Luke in the old comic image with the lightsaber, a little C-3PO there. So all the scans so far look pretty good on this. I'm not sure which way this went. So this is one scan that didn't work so well, and you will occasionally get that. So you will notice there's no border at the top or the bottom. This scan, I had a little bit of trouble reading the ends of the card because of this black field. Now, let me give you an example to look at. This one, it read just fine because there was plenty of other colors. The AI in the scanner is really comparing colors to kind of notate the edges of the card. In this case, it read it just fine. Or in one of these movie facts, that's easy for it to recognize as well. In this case, it kind of blended over. So what I personally do on these is I will not send these scans through. I will redo it manually if I need to. So I want to grab out the steel walls, close in on our heroes. I'm going to head over there and grab that card out of the bin. The bin is nice too because it's got openings on every side of the bin. In fact, I'll show you that real quick. Let's see here. I'm going to switch over to my frontal cam. So you'll see holes all the way through, right? Just, there we go. You can see me there. And then on the side, there's some gaps there. And then in the bottom as well. So you can kind of tip those cards, stick them through, and then grab them out. It's super convenient the way they design that catch bin. Here are our cards we just scanned. So we want to find the trash compactor one. And there it is. You see that mostly black backside of the card. I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to go ahead and take a manual photo with my camera to get that one done. So let's go back to the software here. So we've got those two cards selected that I didn't like the scans on. I'm just going to hit my delete button and go ahead and get rid of those. It's going to say, are you sure you want to delete these? Yes, I do. And then we go on to the next card. So we've got Luke and Han in the refuse room. We've got the back there. We've got Han in the Millennium Falcon gunner's turret. And as I look at these, you can see like I've got it at a high level of detail. And you can see, just the printing that existed in 1977 when these were made was not of the same quality that it is today. You get high res images on the cards today that they just couldn't do back then. Here's Luke and 3PO with crazy old wizard Ben Kenobi, and there's the back. So now, the next thing that I'm going to look at is, where do I want to send these? And that's the key here, because you're thinking to yourself, man, I don't, I'm not going to send these through anything, and maybe I want to take a mobile. So I actually, what I do is I set up a how do I want to say this? I set up some specific locations that I want to save these to. And then you can save those settings into the scanner software when you set everything up initially. And actually, every time you save them, it's going to prompt you, hey, do you want to make a change to anything? For this particular instance, I'm going to show you a little bit of what I do with that. So here we go. So there you can see my Windows Explorer. And I'll blow that up so you can see it a little bit better. I kind of just create some folders where I want it to save, and you can see there's nothing in there right now. If I go back to the software here, so now I've got, let's see, I've got all of my cards ready to go. I don't know why it's going blank here. It should be selecting the window that I have up. So let me reset this. Microsoft Edge tab of the window. There we go. We'll share this in here again. And then I'm just going to hit this save button right here. And it's going to pop up a little window that says, hey, do you really want to save this the way it is? Or would you like to switch this back to some different settings? I'm actually going to browse it, and I'm going to select my Star Wars folder, and I'm going to hit OK. And then I am going to go back to my my screen with all the Star Wars folder items. And you can see all those images imported in now. Now you're seeing a red X. Why are you seeing a red X? That is specific to my system. It's because you'll see a notice up here. I'm out of cloud storage. The status is giving me a red X just because it's telling me, hey, we weren't able to sync this to the cloud. That's not really something that I'm worried about. You can see if I change my list to the images, you can see all the images came through now. So now the question becomes, how are we going to list these? Well, there's a couple things that I want to tell you about before we do that. I can actually save these to my phone right from here. And in fact, I can do an example for you. Let me grab my phone off the stand, and I will then show you how I would do that. So I'll be right back with you with my phone. Okay, so I am back here now. I've got my phone handy here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to plug my phone into my computer, and each phone is going to be a little different. In my case, my phone says, hey, what do you want to do for transfers? I click on that and select transferring images. And when I do that, it's going to give me another window that pops up. And that window is going to say, hey, I want to use my phone to transfer all images. And let's see if I can give you an idea of what that looks like now that I've done that. So let me switch over to this screen here. So now when I go to this PC, you can see this little camera icon. That is actually my phone. And this is my camera app of all the pictures on my phone. You can see I've got a few other things on there. So now it's easy for me to say, okay, I want to take some of these imports from Star Wars, and I want to take this one. I'll take this first one, and I just want to drag it over to my camera app. And now when I go back over there, you can see now I've got the Star Wars images there. Now, let's say I got to go to the office now and I got to work. I'll have those on my phone. I can continue the listing process from there later. So it's really handy to me when I want to do that. I do that quite a bit. In fact, every day before I go to the office, I load up some of these images so that I can work on them on my breaks, on lunch. If let's say I've got an appointment that day and I'm in a doctor's office or something like that, I can do that anywhere I'd like to go. So I just want to make sure I just switched it over. I had 2607 and 2608. I just want to make sure I sent those back, 2607 and 2608. There they are. Now, you're not seeing the images, again, just because of my cloud storage issues. But if you have plenty of storage, if you didn't have that, you would see the full images there. So nothing to be concerned with there. And then I can delete these off of my phone, and we are good to go. We're back to the Star Wars import images. All right. So then from that point, we're just going to be on our standard listing apps for eBay. Like it's going to be your standard listing process. So I can walk you through that as well. That first card we had, we're going to want to take a look at that and make sure we understand what it is and grab that out of there. So I have the Rebel Leaders Wonder About Their Fate, and that's going to be card number 50. So I am going to set up a listing for that. Now, when we look at that, I am going to have other ones that I listed. So I can simply take that from some of my past listings. So here we go. So now I can see, I can go to 1977 Topps Star Wars. You can see I've got all of these listed already. I can very simply go to Sell Similar. And here we have the previous listing I had. I'm going to remove those. I'm going to add photos and simply go to my imports that I had before, Star Wars. Grab those two and hit open, and it's going to pull them in. So there's our card we're going to list. Rebel Leaders Wonder About Their Fate. This is number 50. We've got Princess Leia in that image, so I'll probably list her, Princess Leia. And that's considered one of her rookie cards as well. Rebel Leaders Wonder About. And looks like I hit my space limits, my character limits. So I'll have to decide what do I want to keep in this and which ones do I not. Well, in this particular card, as I look at this, I've got the card number. We know the set it's from. I've called out that it's a rookie card for Princess Leia, as it's a card in her first set, one of the first cards to feature her. I really don't need to have all of this stuff. I can just put Rebel Leaders ... That tells me there's going to be more on that. Now I'm going to have my SKU. So I use the date SKU. So 3/24/24. If I have multiple packs of cards for this day, I'm going to grab them. I've got my store category. So I built a new category just for Star Wars now. Trading card singles, in collectibles, non-sport trading cards, the Star Wars category. I know it's in the Star Wars franchise. Remember, all this is in there from my previous listing, so I have to change very little. Well, Luke Skywalker and R2D2 are no longer in this, and I know just from experience that Leia Organa is in here. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in as a character. We see it's the base set, featured person or artist. I'm going to take Kenny Baker and Mark Hamill out of there, but I may add Carrie Fisher, and she pops up in the list. So now if you are specifically looking for roles Carrie Fisher starred in, you'll see that. We've got our card number. We've got to change that to 50. We know it's a non-sport. So when we think about the quality of this card and the condition, I'm going to flip over to my front cam and give you a good look at this. So this is the card. Edges look really good. It's the centering is a little off, but I'm not too worried about that. There's no major blemishes on it to speak of. The back looks good. So as I hold this under different lights, I see a little bit of kind of a gum stain up here, right up here. You can't see it in the image, right? So it's important to call some of that out when you talk about the condition, because you can't see it. No matter how I hold this card, I don't think you can see it. But if I hold it under direct light, I see a little bit of speckle, I'll call it, at the top of the card in the dark image. It would cause it not to grade as well. So what I'm going to do is I think excellent is appropriate on this. It has clearly visible signs of wear, but it doesn't have heavy to moderate damage all over. The corners are pretty good yet, just slightly soft. Then I'm going to use the AI description, and it's going to do some thinking there. It's going to think about it. Card's in excellent condition. And then I usually call out just a little bit of some, what do I want to call this? I really struggle with a good word for this. It seems like it was a stain from like gum, but it's not discoloration. Slight blemish on top of front image, imperceptible in photos, only visible under specific direct lighting. So there's no reason any buyer would come back to me and say, hey, this is not the card I wanted. So I know that this particular card, even though it's a Princess Leia card, it is not a portrait of her. This isn't going to be an $8.99 card. I want to see some of the similar listings. And we can see there. So there's a portrait of Princess Leia, $5.35. Shipping plus 99 cents at auction. So essentially it was sold for over $6. This is Princess Leia and Darth Vader. That sold for $1.25 plus 86 cents shipping. I put everything on my store free shipping. So I kind of combine shipping costs and recent sales together. For this one, I think considering the condition and which image it is, I think I'm going to list $250 on this. And there's a weird thing that happens sometimes. These fields become transparent when you type in them, but if you highlight them, you can see I put $250 in there. Quantity is 1. I'm going to allow offers, but I'm not setting any minimum or auto accept items. Everything I ship as a single is going to go in a number 6 envelope, in a penny sleeve, and a top loader. So I default all of my shipping policies to standard envelope, 1 ounce, 7 by 4 by 1 to represent that number 6. And then I'm going to hit my list it button. And 1977 Top Star Wars Series 1 number 50 Princess Leia rookie card Rebel Leaders is now listed. If I hit done, it's going to be at the top of my listings because I sort it by start date every day and look at the most recent first. So you can see I've got that out there now, listed today at 1:58 Pacific time. And that card is done. And I would essentially repeat that for the other 14 cards that we scanned through there. Just changing the card number and the name, potentially condition. I'll continue to let that auto create for the what field is that? That's the actual description of the card. The condition is what I meant, is what I will adjust from time to time on the cards. So if a card is significantly different from the others, I'll have to adjust the condition. But the item description, I like to use that AI field and let that fill it in. That's worked out really well. If there is any specific damage to a card that I think is important to call out, I'll just add it to the end after the AI fills that in. But again, for the most part now, the rest of those cards, I'm going to repeat that process, change the card number, change the card name a little bit as appropriate, maybe change the featured person in that card and the characters. But that process is probably, to list those other 14 cards, it's probably going to take me like 5 minutes to get those out because I already scanned those images. They're ready to go. I know those images are perfect the way I want them for every single one. So that'll speed up that process as well. And that is how I use the scanner with my items that can't go through listing programs like Card Dealer Pro. We'll be putting out another video here on what we do for cards we can put through Card Dealer Pro. All of our baseball cards, our wrestling cards, football, basketball, some Pokemon is in there now. Magic the Gathering, I think, is in Card Dealer Pro. We'll do another video along the similar lines of how this process works as we do some of those cards. And that'll be coming out hopefully sometime this week as well. So until then, peace out. Take care of yourself.